Big stories, big pressure, big nights at Anfield. This is Anfield Central, your home for the latest Liverpool news, transfers and sharp analysis. No noise, just what matters to real Reds. So if you love Liverpool, hit subscribe and stay ahead of every story. Let's get into it.
Liverpool given transfer go-to in bid to replace Mo Salah with three-man shortlist. Talk around Mohamed Salah's long-term future at Anfield is gathering pace once again, and now former Reds striker Emile Heskey has weighed in on who could eventually replace him. Salah only signed a new 2-year deal last summer, but he is now into his 30s, and this season has sparked fresh debate. A mid-season outburst added fuel to speculation that his time at Anfield could be entering its final chapter. There is no doubt about his legacy. Salah is already regarded as one of Liverpool's greatest ever players, consistently delivering 20 to 30 goals a season for nearly a decade. But even Heskey admits the reality is unavoidable. At some point, Liverpool will need to plan for life after their Egyptian talisman. Speaking to OLBG, Heskey was clear about the scale of the task. He said fans must understand that you simply cannot replace Mohamed Salah like for like. He recalled how some once described a 25-goal campaign from Salah as a bad season, underlining just how extraordinary the standards have become. Still, if Liverpool were to move in the market, Heskey has a clear favourite. The former striker named Paris Saint-Germain winger Kvaratskhelia as his go-to option, praising the Georgian's quality and impact since his move from Napoli. Kvaratskhelia has already made a major impression in Paris and played a key role in their recent Champions League triumph, quickly establishing himself among Europe's elite wide players. Heskey also mentioned West Ham's Jarrod Bowen as another possibility, though he acknowledged most players would represent a step down from Salah's output. He suggested Bowen offers a different profile, a tireless worker who could potentially suit the system in a different way, even if the numbers might not match Salah's. Another surprise name on Heskey's shortlist is Christian Pulisic. The American winger struggled for consistency at Chelsea, but has since rebuilt his reputation with AC Milan. Heskey believes Pulisic's direct style and attacking intent could give Liverpool something different. He pointed out that Pulisic endured heavy pressure during his time in England, particularly after a strong World Cup, and suggested a return to the Premier League could offer redemption. The message is clear. Replacing Salah is almost impossible, but evolution is inevitable. For now, Salah remains central to Liverpool's ambitions, but discussions like this show the club's next big attacking transition may already be on the horizon. And if that moment does arrive, the debate over who fills those boots will dominate the conversation at Anfield.
Liverpool receives painful injury update after player ruled out for rest of season. Liverpool have been handed a significant setback after confirmation that on-loan goalkeeper Vítězslav Jaroš will miss the remainder of the season with a serious knee injury requiring surgery. The 24-year-old, currently on loan at Ajax, suffered the injury during training last week. Medical examinations later confirmed the damage was severe enough to require an operation, effectively ending his campaign. Ajax released an official statement confirming the news, revealing that the Czech goalkeeper would not feature again this season following the setback. Speaking ahead of the draw with NEC Nijmegen, Ajax head coach Fred Grim admitted the situation has had a clear emotional impact on the squad. He revealed that Jaroš was in a lot of pain when the injury occurred. Grim acknowledged the frustration within the dressing room, saying it didn't look good from the outset. Despite the disappointment, he stressed that the team must move forward, calling it the harsh reality of football. Jaroš had been enjoying a strong spell in Amsterdam. After initially struggling for consistency and briefly losing his place earlier in the season, he fought his way back to establish himself as Ajax's first-choice goalkeeper. He made 26 appearances this season and had become a key figure between the posts before this untimely setback. The Czech international joined Liverpool back in 2020 and has gained valuable experience through loan spells across Europe. Prior to Ajax, he featured for St Patrick's Athletic, Notts County, Stockport County and Sturm Graz. Although opportunities at Anfield have been limited, Jaroš has already made 2 senior appearances for Liverpool. He came off the bench in a Premier League victory over Crystal Palace in October 2024 before starting and completing 90 minutes in a 3-2 Carabao Cup win against Brighton and Hove Albion later that month. Despite fierce competition from Alisson Becker and Georgi Mamardashvili, Jaroš has previously made his ambitions clear. Earlier this season, he openly admitted that that his long-term goal remains becoming Liverpool's #1 goalkeeper. He acknowledged the challenge of replacing two established shot-stoppers, but insisted ambition is what drives improvement. For now, however, the focus shifts to recovery. Surgery and rehabilitation lie ahead, and both Ajax and Liverpool will hope he can return stronger next season. This is undoubtedly a frustrating pause in what had been an encouraging campaign, but at 24, Jarosz still has time on his side to fight his way back into Liverpool's long-term plans.
Liverpool may have been handed a clear warning over the cost of one of the summer's most surprising midfield links. If the Reds want to test Tottenham's resolve for Lucas Bergvall, it will take a significant offer to even start the conversation. Reports suggest Liverpool are assessing their midfield options ahead of the next transfer window, with Curtis Jones entering the final years of his contract, Alexis Mac Allister regularly linked with interest elsewhere, and Ryan Gravenberch struggling to replicate his best 2024-25 form. The need for long-term stability in the middle of the park is growing. According to Team Talk, 20-year-old Tottenham midfielder Lucas Bergvall has emerged as a shock name on Liverpool's radar. The Swedish international already made headlines against the Reds, scoring one of his first senior goals in the 2025 EFL Cup semi-final. However, Tottenham are in no mood to sell cheaply. Swedish outlet Football Direct claims Spurs would demand around 700 million Swedish kroners, approximately £57 million, to part ways with the midfielder. That figure reflects not just his potential, but also growing interest across the Premier League. Aston Villa and Chelsea are both understood to have registered interest during the January window, meaning Liverpool would face competition if they formalise their pursuit. Bergvall remains under contract at Tottenham until 2031, giving the North London club strong leverage. Despite sitting just 4 points above the relegation zone after 27 games, Spurs are protected by the length of his deal. The Swede only joined Tottenham in 2024 from Djurgården in an £8.5 million deal, a move now looking like smart business. Last season, he made 27 league appearances, including 10 starts, and followed that up with 11 starts this year before an ankle injury disrupted his momentum. In terms of profile, Bergvall is viewed as an energetic, all-action midfielder. His strengths lie in ball retention and tackling, drawing comparisons to Liverpool's Dominik Szoboszlai in terms of versatility and work rate. He is featured as an attacking midfielder, as a number 8 in a three-man midfield, and even in a deeper role in a double pivot. That tactical flexibility could appeal to Liverpool, particularly under a manager who values adaptable midfielders. Tottenham's broader financial situation may also influence the market. Spurs have invested heavily in recent windows, signing players such as Dominic Solanke, James Maddison and Radu Tragusin, but injuries and inconsistency have hampered progress, with European qualification looking increasingly unlikely unless they produce a remarkable continental run. There is growing speculation that Spurs may have to consider significant sales. Liverpool's interest in Tottenham talent does not stop there. The Reds have also been linked to centre-back Mikey van de Ven, who shares international ties with Virgil van Dijk, Cody Gakpo and Ryan Gravenberch. Meanwhile, uncertainty continues around Ibrahima Konate, who has been linked with a potential free transfer to Real Madrid in the summer, a situation that could reshape Liverpool's defensive planning. For now, Bergvall remains an intriguing but expensive option. The price tag is clear, the competition is real, and if Liverpool are serious, this could quickly become one of the defining midfield stories of the summer window.
Liverpool kept their Champions League hopes alive in dramatic fashion, but even a stoppage-time winner was not enough to silence the criticism aimed at Alexis Mac Allister. The Argentine midfielder struck deep into added time at Anfield to seal a crucial victory over Nottingham Forest. It was a moment of pure relief for the Reds, coming just minutes after he had seen another effort ruled out by VAR. That earlier goal was disallowed for handball, a decision that sparked debate and frustration inside the stadium. Yet Mac Allister responded in the best way possible by delivering when it mattered most. Despite being Liverpool's match winner, the 2022 World Cup champion was singled out for heavy criticism by former Chelsea defender Frank Leboeuf. Speaking on ESPN, Leboeuf did not hold back in his assessment. "Sometimes life is not fair. When you see how horrendous some players have been, I highly rank the player I'm going to mention, Mac Allister. I think he is a world-class player and a World Cup champion. Since he has been at Liverpool, he has been a very influential player, but Sunday was the worst game I've ever seen Mac Allister play, but he scored the goal, and that, for me,
me is what football is not fair. It was a brutal verdict, especially considering the magnitude of the moment. However, McAllister's decisive strike marked his first Premier League goal of the season, adding to the 3 he has already scored in European competition. Liverpool manager Arne Slot offered a more measured perspective when asked about the midfielder's recent form. He suggested that consistency has been building in recent weeks. I think what he needed is what he showed in the last 6, 7 or 8 games, a run of games where he's getting back to his usual level that he showed so many times last season. He admitted there had been fluctuations earlier in the campaign, both individually and collectively. He added that he is now seeing far greater stability across the squad. I see much more consistency recently, not only in Macca's performance, but in the team performance and many individual performances. And perhaps most importantly, he highlighted the psychological boost of a decisive goal. It's always nice for a player to score, especially if it's in extra time of extra time. McAllister himself addressed the controversial disallowed effort after the match. When asked whether the ball had touched his arm, he was honest but frustrated. "It did, but it's harsh, because it hit my back as well. I understand the rules, but it's football. It's very harsh." As for the winner, the Argentine revealed he had predicted the decisive moment. "I knew I would get another chance. Before the throw-in, I told Hugo it would be our situation, but I had another opportunity, and I am glad it went in." In the end, it was a night that perfectly summed up football's unpredictability, criticised for his performance, yet remembered for the goal that could define Liverpool's season.
Curtis Jones' Liverpool struggles underlined by damning stat from Nottingham Forest win. Curtis Jones' difficult season took another hit despite Liverpool securing a 1-0 win over Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. Originally named on the bench, the midfielder was handed a late opportunity after Florian Wirtz picked up an injury in the warm-up. That unexpected setback forced Jones into the starting 11 in a more advanced role. But it proved to be a challenging afternoon for the Liverpool Academy graduate. He struggled to impose himself on the game and found little rhythm in possession during a tense first half. Arne Slot eventually reshuffled his midfield, switching Jones with Dominik Szoboszlai, with Jones briefly operating from a right-back position. The change appeared to spark improvement, particularly in Liverpool's pressing after the break. As Forest's attacking threat diminished in the second half, Jones had fewer defensive demands. In fact, he registered Liverpool's only shot on target before the 89th minute. However, that opportunity from close range should arguably have resulted in a goal. Instead, Stefan Ortega produced a reaction save to deny him, summing up a frustrating outing. Jones was withdrawn late on and looked visibly disappointed as he made his way off the pitch. The statistics that followed only intensified the scrutiny. According to Who Scored, Jones committed 3 errors that directly led to a shot, the most by any player in a single Premier League match this season. It was a stark indicator of his struggles on the ball. He found himself under constant pressure from Ibrahim Sangare and Elliot Anderson in midfield. Inside the opening 3 minutes, Sangare dispossessed him, leading to a sharp Alisson save to deny Callum Hudson-Odoi. Despite the criticism, Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk was quick to defend his teammate. He insisted the issues were collective rather than individual. "I think it is a collective thing that changed it. Everyone was much better in the second half," Van Dijk said. "No one was at their best standard in the first half." Jamie Carragher, however, offered a far more direct assessment during Sky Sports coverage. The former defender highlighted what he believes is a recurring flaw in Jones's game. "Curtis Jones is always taking too many touches. He needs to be sharper. That's been an issue for his entire Liverpool career. He's always wanting too much time on the ball." The numbers supported that argument. Jones lost possession 5 times during the match, further underlining the concerns over his decision-making and tempo. All of this comes at a time when the 25-year-old is already battling to regain his place. Before the Forest clash, he had not started any of Liverpool's previous 6 Premier League or Champions League fixtures. While Liverpool walked away with 3 vital points, questions remain over Jones's role moving forward and whether he can rediscover the consistency needed to secure his future in Slot's plans.
Rio Ferdinand agrees with Jamie Carragher with top draw verdict about Liverpool's star. Liverpool's dramatic 1-0 win over Nottingham Forest may have been sealed by Alexis McAllister, but much of the post-match attention has shifted to a 17-year-old who changed the game from the bench. Rion Gumoha produced an eye-catching cameo at the City Ground, earning widespread praise after helping swing momentum back in Liverpool's favour late on. McAllister had initially seen a late strike ruled out for handball, only to respond moments later with the decisive goal that secured 3 vital Premier League points. Yet get in between that chaos, and Gumoha's introduction proved to be a turning point. The teenager replaced Mohamed Salah in the 77th minute and immediately injected pace, directness and belief into Liverpool's attack. It was just his 9th Premier League appearance of the season and his 4th since the turn of the year. Despite his limited minutes, and Gumoha has already shown flashes of real quality. He's featured in both FA Cup fixtures this term and also appeared twice during the Champions League phase. This was not the first time he has made an impact from the bench either. Back in August, he scored a decisive goal against Newcastle United, underlining his ability to influence big moments. Former Manchester United defender Rio Ferdinand was quick to highlight the youngster's contribution. Posting on X, Ferdinand described Gumoha as top draw and credited him with changing the game. A winger that wants to beat his man and deliver with a mix of speed and finesse, Ferdinand wrote, clearly impressed by the 17-year-old's fearless approach. Jamie Carragher echoed that sentiment during Sky Sports coverage, arguing that Gumoha's impact was immediate and undeniable. And Gumoha did more in 15 minutes than Salah and Gakpo did before that. He changed the game and needs to be starting games. Carragher also reminded viewers of Liverpool's reputation for late drama, adding that there's no one better in getting last-minute winners in the Premier League, and that is Liverpool. Former Reds striker Daniel Sturridge joined the chorus of praise, urging Arne Slot to reward the teenager with more opportunities. Every time I watch Gumoha, he looks electric, direct, fearless, always trying to affect the game. He deserves more minutes, simple as that. For Slot, the decision now becomes increasingly difficult, with established stars ahead of him in the pecking order, and Gumoha is forcing his way into the conversation through performances rather than reputation. And if this latest cameo is anything to go by, Liverpool may already have another exciting attacking weapon ready to take the next step.